Welcome to Lost Without Japan, a travel podcast about the life-changing experiences of exploring Japan and those moments we would be lost without. For your listening pleasure, allow me to introduce your very own Kanko Guido, Michael.
Welcome to everyone in Lost Without Japan land. We're going to have a couple of parts to this. Sam's doing some podcasting himself. So we're going to let him take over in a moment. And we're going to do some discussions about what got me into podcasting. After he gets done what he needs, talk a little bit about the Gundam base that I went to yesterday, and also a little bit about Ghibli as we went to go see Kiki's Delivery Service in 4K on IMAX today. And I can't recommend that enough. When this drops, it's going to be the day after. And I still saw some showtimes for it. So check and see if it's by you, but don't let much time go by because I don't know how many days that it's going to be out. And with that, going to give a little bit of pause so Sam can get what he needs to for his podcast. So thanks for listening today and, enjoying kind of a mishmash of things related to the show and Japan.
Hello, everybody. It's Beesneez. In a rare podcast format. Don't usually do that, but I have my dad back on, and I was curious because he's been doing his podcast, his Lost Without Japan podcast, for what's been 3 years now, coming up on four.
Oh, no, no, no. Five, coming up
Five,
on six
five.
this
Oh, I'm
summer.
so off. Oh my gosh, time goes by fast.
It does.
Um, and you've been really consistent, which has inspired me in a lot of my creative endeavors as well with my channel and whatnot. So I'm kind of curious how you settled on podcasting because I think you've really found a niche that you like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, back some time ago. I mean, like I said, going on 6 years for this summer, but I had listened to podcasts, before they were cool. I guess if they were ever cool, but there was a time they were definitely more popular than they are now. Not to say that they're not still popular, but there was a time where it was like that pre kind of early YouTube time where YouTube
Mhm.
was still trying to figure itself out and podcasting was like where it was at. If you wanted to get your information on, Japan or whatever your interest was, that was really where you went to. And for, I want to say, like, even back in 2007, when I went for the first time, like trying to find information on Japan was so limited. I had to go to books and things like that. But I remember even after that first visit that there were different shows that I listened to of people that were in Japan. And, I reached out to them and I remember, how cool I thought it was to get an email from, somebody doing it a podcast and just like, oh man, they responded to me. I'm like, this is pretty
I've made
cool.
it big.
Made it huge, big. And then, but one of the podcasts that I listen to, I think the most consistently is called um, Life was like Life before. Oh, sorry, Life Before the Cover Save. You'd say, yeah, Dad, you've listened to it so much, you should know the name. But yes, it's like a Warhammer, podcast, but it's usually Warhammer adjacent. Like it was just a bunch of friends hanging out, and they had Blake, and others from that time where it's like the uh, Blake, I think, is going to be on my podcast in the future. He wants to go to Japan. He's big into sumo, but not to get too far rambling off. But I listened to them, and they sounded like they were having a blast, and they were super consistent for a long time. And I want to say that they did one, twice a month at one point. Now it's kind of like once a month. I'm just happy that they're still doing things. But I remember, listening to them, and then deep in Japan, Jeff was another podcast that I listened to, and then Japan 2.0, the guys that I interviewed back in the past that we met up, with, and um, they were people that I reached out to. But I was just kind of one of those things where I'm like, hey, I'd like to start doing something, and reached out to a couple different people, and Jeff was one of those people from deep in Japan who has a huge show. I mean, he's highly rated. He's had, big names on, people that I can hope to maybe have one day. But I reached out to him, and he gave me some ideas for setup, because his audio is still significantly better than mine. But I was like, hey, if you're gonna reach out to somebody that has a show that sounds good,
Right.
And he spent thousands upon his show. Not to out him to his wife, but he has, and but he was a big help. Remember reaching out to Japan 2.0 kind of in that beginning, and then it was just getting going. And I want to say, with the exception of one, I've been bi-weekly for 6 years this summer, with the exception of 1 week where I had like a 3-week gap. And I blame my friend Tom Husek. Yes, I'm outing you with your entire name. Um, he was on the show back then, kind of like early, helping me. He likes to travel, never been to Japan. But, I was kind of waiting for him to do an episode, and that kind of fell through with our plans and things. And I didn't have something to put out. But with the exception of that time, yeah, I've been bi weekly for 6 years, and I don't see myself stopping. It's here. I really hope that, like, I don't know, like, what your format's going to be, right? Because we've talked before about like my downloads and things like that, and I just don't know, like, in 8 years when I'm in Japan, like, what the podcasting.
Landscape is gonna look like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like,
sure.
because YouTube has things on it, but I feel like it's so much harder to get noticed now, to get any sort of following. Like, I remember I had an Instagram account at one point, that had like a few thousand people that were following me for K-pop stuff having to do with Twice, because that's, I'm not just cool in one
The
area.
coolest, yeah.
But like, trying to get followers now, I just feel it's so much harder to get going. But whenever I it's kind of very satisfying, because I'll see a spike in my downloads whenever somebody new finds the show, and you just see it going down like my 6 years worth of catalog, where you'll see like, just 100 downloads out of nowhere, where somebody's like, going, like, going through the
Mhm.
episodes and stuff. So it's been pretty cool with that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what led me to getting into it.
Yeah. And you definitely um part of the inspiration was sharing your love with Japan with people for sure.
I,
Um,
yeah.
and I know that's a big deal because I know in the past, if you're not actively planning a Japan trip, um, you can feel lost without Japan.
See, yeah, see that unintentional. No, I would 100% agree, son. Because my I want to say that how good I feel is tied proportionally to me being able to know that I'm going back to Japan, and the closer that is, the better I feel about things
Yeah,
in general. So 100%, like, getting to share it with you, and being able to do that twice, and knowing that we're going to have multiple more times past that, and then having Addison and I be able to go in like 2 summers is going to be huge too.
yeah.
Like, I've made friends, and you've met those friends there, with Rock and Messiah. And I thought about, I need to message Rock yesterday. So I need to do this when we get off talking together. But like, making friends in Japan um, through the podcast is one thing. Like I have friends now in Tokyo, and I have friends that are in Hiroshima, and I feel like I know people that are in various parts of Japan. So when I move there in 8 years, I hope to have like this podcast in whatever form that it is end up being something that I could do. And I feel like when I'm there, I feel like my audience is going to grow more because it's just like, you want to listen to a guy that's, in Chicago talking about Japan, even though he's super knowledgeable? Or do you want to listen to a guy living in, Hiroshima talking
Mhm.
about his daily stuff in Japan? I don't
Right.
um, but like you getting to meet Rock and Messiah and knowing that you're going to be able to go back and meet Rock and his son, before I do, a bit jealous of that and getting to eat
Mhm.
at his restaurant, Hell's Chicken
Mhm.
in Hiroshima. Oh, super jealous, son.
Yeah, shout out Hell's Chicken. It's not open yet,
Not
but
open yet.
yeah.
That's why I'm like, I need to message. He was sending pictures of the restaurant when it was down to like kind of like a bare bone type thing, and they were starting to put things back in.
Mhm.
And then him and his family went to go take, I think, a vacation before things get super busy, and they went to Korea to go visit his family.
Nice.
So they were sending pictures of that. But like Maurice, getting to meet him and like
Mhm.
because of his photography and stuff, and he's getting so big. Like he's having shows, in Japan, back here in the States, in different countries. He's been to Kyoto for a photo thing. Like he has some of his photography is going to be up in Tokyo,
Yeah.
like coming up, and you can see it. But like him, David, other friends of the show, where it's like I've met so many different people, even like recently. Those of you that are listening, like even recently being able to talk to new friends and things that I've been making has been huge too. Justin and you know, just like it is, just continue to meet people that have your things that's here. And I feel like one of the things that could make you fail or like make it not fail, but harder to be in a new country halfway around the world is not knowing people. And that's, I think, kind of what's kept me going is the fact that like the more connections that I make, the more people I'm going to know when I'm there. And the more at home I'll feel um, halfway around the world.
Sure, yeah. Do you wanna talk a little bit, because you didn't meet Rock and Messiah through the show. Do you wanna talk a little bit how you met them?
Oh, sure, sure, sure. It's like um, I on my first trip to Japan was back in like 2007 with Fulbright, and I didn't meet them then. I said, but I returned, and that's one thing that I'm so proud of you, son, is that like um, you didn't wait to be 37 to realize that you can do things for yourself or travel for yourself. Um, but when I was 37, I went back to Japan for the first time, and I went by myself. And there were like a list of things that I wanted to do, and one of those was going to Hiroshima to go to the atomic bomb memorial museum. And I remember doing that. And like previous to that, I was walking around Hiroshima. And like the strangest thing, I've moved a lot. Like when I was a kid, I moved every year or 2 years, and we've lived in, um, you know, Illinois now for your entire life.
Mhm.
But, like, it's never felt like home to me. Like, even though I've lived here for,
Right.
like, a chunk of times, it's just a place that I'm waiting till I can actually move to Japan. But I was in Hiroshima, and as I was walking around along the rivers there, and before I went to the museum, I'm like, I felt, like, so at home, walking around in a city I'd never been to,
Yeah.
halfway halfway around the world. Then I went to the bomb like museum and I think I lasted like I don't know, maybe like 40 minutes or something like that. And most of the museum um are things where it's like there's a huge map of things before and after, and there's some things written on the wall. And it was like very impactful. But then there's a portion of the museum where you're actually seeing artifacts of people that have that did not survive or did survive. And like, man, there was one in particular where it was like a little girl and was reading about her. And they had like artifacts that were from her. And I like that hit me so hard because, you know, being a father and having you and Addison, like man, it was like I just saw Addison being there and having something like that happen. And I ended up having to leave the museum because I was just like so emotionally um, overwhelmed. And they had one thing like if you do, I recommend going. I said definitely do, but they also had at the time like English audio that you could listen to from different parts of it, which helped. But like, there's some things I don't think you need translation for, and seeing those things and knowing that people were attached to them were one. And I left the museum and I didn't know even where I was going, and I was just kind of like walking. And fortunately, Messiah at the time had Good Time bar in Hiroshima, and I'd been in Japan at that point in time for a few weeks, and I was missing home, um, a bit, and I was missing just like what I would consider like some American food, and there's nothing more American than a hot dog sometimes,
Right.
you know, and I saw the menu and I saw things outside and I saw that he had a hot dog set, and so I walked into this establishment, and I can only blame the fact that I didn't um that I'd just come from the museum and I was out of it. I mean, I was really out of it. And I didn't pick up on the fact that Messiah, even though I saw a film camera, like a TV film crew and him being interviewed, I was like mentally like, oh man, this place must be good if there's somebody interviewing him, not, hey, maybe you shouldn't go in to this place that's being interviewed, like this guy's being interviewed. He may not be open, uh, you know, um, but he was incredibly nice, even though he doesn't speak English. We were able to go through the translation app, and I was kind of like hot dog set, you know, and he sat me in the corner kind of away from them. And in between interviewing, he brought me out my spicy dog set. And I was like, and like I think I ate like three like spicy dogs and like fries and had a beer, and I left like in a much better headspace. And I ended up messaging him after I left because I started following him on Instagram, and I saw that like uh, that interview was because he was like not open yet. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to be opening coming up soon," and I was like, I messaged through like Instagram, and I was like, "I am so sorry. I didn't realize that you weren't even opening. I don't know if you remember me or not. The guy that walked in on your telephone,
Sure,
like,
you're very memorable.
yeah, very memorable. And he's like, no, spicy dog guy. Yeah, I know you, spicy dog guy. So he's like, next time you come, I'll be waiting for you, and we'll have some spicy dogs again. And that's when I ended up going back with my friends. I ended up being a tour guide basically for my friends who hadn't been to Japan, and there was a large, like a decent sized group of us that went together, and I ended up going there and meeting back up with him again, and he introduced me to more of his friends, and like every time we've gone back now, we've been introduced to more people. And one of the times we came back was like with you and getting to meet Rock and them giving us a special cheers to say when we were drinking and trying to embarrass us, and just us buying into it, and then everybody else at his bar buying into it and having a blast, like, doing so. But yeah, like, and then like when we went back again in November, getting to meet with them again, and now Rock having like his son and him trying to, tell me to move into his mansion, like, his apartment building and stuff, so that we can be near each other. It's just means so much to actually have some people that are potential close friends, long term friends, and people that I can interact with when I'm there. So
Yeah.
it's been huge, huge.
Yeah. It's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, son. Anytime. I said, like we were saying, like, uh, one last thing before we go, but like, yeah, I remember being working a summer job and being told by the guy that was in charge of things that he wasn't interested about hearing Japan, about Japan anymore, and maybe I could find a different outlet for it. So,
Yeah.
that helps. That helps. The podcast is it. So,
Credit to him way back.
way back. But thanks, son.
Thank you.
And as we continue this talk, son, I know yesterday I went to the Gundam base in Chicago, like not Chicago, they say Chicago, but it's Rosemont. And I definitely had a blast. Any of you that happen to be traveling through the suburbs of Chicago to the fashion outlet mall, it may be the only thing you can afford going to that mall is the Gundams, but you can actually go there, check the calendar before you go, and you can build a model for free. They'll help you with it. You don't need any special tools. You don't need any glue, nothing. My daughter and I built it. We were having a blast laughing and having a good time looking at the models and things like that. But it's the only place in the United States that the Gundam models and current anime series, Addison and I were talking about, that you can go to without having to travel to Japan or Asia to go to. It was pretty darn cool, son. We have some models in front that makes great podcast in audio, but they had some special models that were just for Gundam base, uh, and making others jealous and things. But it was great. That was kind of yesterday, and then today, my son joined me with Addison so that we could see one of our favorite Ghibli movies in IMAX on 4K. And I'm telling you, if you can catch one of the movies in IMAX, like, you can't help but notice things that you don't normally notice when the screen is, like,
Massive.
massive. I mean, it's bigger than if you were actually there view. Um, but we saw Kiki's Delivery Service, and it was, fantastic. Do you notice any differences or
I
things, or
I wish I could say I had. I realized I'd only seen Kiki's Delivery Service maybe twice beforehand,
okay.
maybe three when I was really young, but that I can remember. So I wasn't super familiar with it. So it was, but I could tell the quality for sure. Like everything was very vivid, and um, I think it came out in the
It's been a maybe.
80s,
I don't know, it's like that's a
90s,
good question of like
maybe early
when
90s.
uh, but the one thing I noticed was that the animation had some, like, at least for what I think 89
Yeah, that's what I
1989.
thought.
So but there was some like touch ups to it almost,
Yeah.
or like because it's 4K that I noticed some lines and things that I
Hmm.
hadn't noticed before. Audio was great, but like the opening in particular to me, I was looking at and I was like, man, I want to go home and watch this now to see if I noticed the same
Yeah.
kind of things. But it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Colors were so vivid and
It
really
was,
cool.
it was just the screen massively huge and things. What did you would you say, like, what would be your favorite like Ghibli movie?
It was interesting. I noticed, like, it's definitely Spirited Away, but it definitely made me notice how much better I followed it watching in English again. Because I realized watching Japanese dub sometimes don't follow the story as well as I maybe do if I have English with me.
Yes.
So watching it this time again, I was like, oh yeah, it's like picking up on stuff that I didn't even think of before. It's not like a very deep story or anything like
No.
that, but yeah, definitely Spirited Away. I'd say is my favorite. With this one moving up the ranks, though, I think House Moving Castle is near and dear to my heart, but um, yeah, this is up there, maybe top three, top two.
And like when you talk about like anime or animated films, um, like a lot of times I feel like I like the Japanese better than I like the English, but this is one of those movies where I don't know what happened to where like
Hmm.
where I watched it in English, when that was, how I came across it, but the voices now, like I can't watch the Japanese
Yeah,
because I've like associated the voices that are in the English with the movie now.
English dub is fantastic of Kiki.
So
It's
good.
so good. Like all really all the Ghibli movies, at least, and like the big budget anime, I'd say you could do either or. Like
Yes.
One Piece, the dub is fantastic. Like Pokemon, obviously, that's good. But um, you start to get to the more recent anime, I'm like, oh man, I can't even take this seriously in English. It does not sound nearly as cool when you're like, I'm gonna kick your butt. I'm like, I don't. It's not.
But no, son, I greatly appreciate it. And for those of you that are listening through for this point, I appreciate it. I had been getting ready for an art show. I've had friends of the show hop on to help me do interviews, and we have some interviews that are going to be lined up. Recent guests of the show are going to be talking about what they're doing with with their companies and how kind of like the being a Japan tour guide or trying to have that be your business is has changed. And whenever the Japan tour company has kind of join in with us and kind of just talk about how that's actually not the same and how hard it is to do it and try to make any money off it. And, like he never made huge amounts to begin with. It kind of like paid for his trip and he'd make like a little bit to kind of justify his time. But um, he kind of has some unique ways about doing that. So those are things to look forward to. And I really do feel if you're listening to this and you did not listen to the two-part day trip that I just previously like come out before this, it is so worth your time. And I'll be putting it out as one complete episode later. Thanks for your patience. Those of you like I did not post to Instagrams, but found mold in my bathroom and time where I thought I was going to be able to spend on the show was spent removing drywall and taking care of that situation and removing toilets and sinks and
All the fun
faucets
stuff.
and painting. And I'm still doing it and doing tiling and things I've never done before in my life and a lot of lighting. So I appreciate your understanding and just enjoying the Japan content and know that it will be out again in, 2 more weeks' time, and kinda go from there. So, we'll get you back with David, Maurice and others and some good time episodes and day trip stuff coming up. But I do appreciate you, for those that have been with the show for a long time or just listening to the first time, uh, you know, thank you. Thank you for your time. And to all of you out there, oh, ginky day, stay well, my friends.